This is Average Joe Finance's podcast, episode 21.
The how-tos are there, right? There's coaches and gurus, and I mean, you can even Google how to make money in real estate, and if you're consistent and you do it, it's going to happen.
Right.
So for me, it was a lot of, maybe a little anxiety, a little bit of fear, a little bit of, maybe I can't do this, which I'm sure a lot of people have. And that was one thing that I really wanted to get over and move forward with. And this just opened up a lot of doors, this year, even with COVID.
Welcome to the Average Joe Finances Podcast. Are you trying to get out of debt, invest, or just not sure where to start? Then this is the place for you. We discuss different ways to get out of the rat race and build your wealth. Join us on this wild ride to financial freedom.
Hey, if you're watching this video on YouTube, be sure to smash that like button and click subscribe. Also, if you're listening to this as a podcast, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on our newest episodes. Be sure to check us out on all of our social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, and LinkedIn. All the links are in the description below. Hey, how's it going, everybody? So today we have Greg Junge on with us. He is a real estate investor since 2015. I'm sorry, a realtor since 2015 and a real estate investor since 2012. He grew up on Long Island. He currently lives in Phoenix, Arizona with his wife, Mandy, and he has an awesome dog named Buster. Some of the things he's into sports, reading, personal development, and most importantly, he's into real estate investing related items. Greg, pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you for taking the time to be with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Mike. I really do appreciate it. And it's always fun to connect with a fellow Long Islander and talk real estate. So I'm looking forward to this.
That's right. Yeah. So my listeners should know by now. Yes, I grew up on Long Island, New York. So when he booked on the show, I was like, yes, all right, we got another Long Islander. So speaking of that, can we rewind a little bit? Can you tell me how you got started? Tell me a little bit about yourself and, what's your story?
Sure. So like I said, I'm born and raised on Long Island. I came out to Arizona for college and never really left. I lived in San Diego for a little while, but once I moved to Phoenix, the real estate bug kind of hit me once I was, I had a W-2 job and I really didn't see myself doing that for the next 30 years. I really wasn't making a lot of money. So it was actually just a candid conversation with a good friend of mine. And he said, you really like real estate investing. You've been doing it for a while. Why don't you become a realtor and really hone your skills for, networking and understanding the contract? And it just kind of took off from there. And now I'm balancing both being a realtor and real estate investing. And it's a great balance. I love it.
All right, man. Yeah, that's fantastic. It's funny because I'm still active duty Navy, right? I'm getting ready to retire here soon. But the whole thing that got me interested in being a realtor is I've been wanting to invest in real estate for a long time. It's my uncle put the bug in my ear like 10 to 12 years ago because he had rental properties up in upstate New York. I saw what he was doing. I saw when he retired, like he was good. Like he had all this passive income and I'm like, wow, man, that's the way I want to be. So I get with a local meetup out here and talking about real estate investing. I was working on my first deal at the time. I was buying a duplex back in Virginia. And while I'm sitting there and I'm explaining my deal to everybody, somebody comes up to me afterwards and says, hey man, he's like, why don't you become a realtor? Do referrals until you get out of the Navy. He's like, that's what I did. And, there's some value there because you get to learn about the market out here. You get to learn about different things on real estate besides what you're doing with investing. And I said, all right, well, it can't hurt. Pay a couple $100 to take the course. And if I get a couple referrals, all that stuff pays for itself. So sure, why not? So I did it. And now I'm getting ready to retire from the Navy. And that's what I want to do full time is I want to be a realtor and just help people, find their dream home or their next investment property. And I think the beauty of it, especially for you too, right, is when you have a realtor that also invests, that understands that, you provide so much more value to an investor versus a realtor who is just, that it's just their job, right? So, having that investment mindset is huge. So I want to say, that's awesome for you and with what you're doing. And for anybody in Phoenix, check this guy out because, he's also an investor. So he practices what he preaches. So you started investing in real estate in 2012. And, that's when you began this journey, right? So what do you enjoy most about the real estate investment side, not being a realtor, but just in your actual investment like strategies? Like what do you enjoy the best about that?
So on the investment side, what I really like about it is the relationships and the networking that you create along the way. Initially I was numbers driven. I want to get to a certain amount per month, and that was my driver. But then I realized along the way, I was working on my mindset and some other foundational issues, and I really wanted to enjoy the journey as well. So I kind of put that number aside. I mean, that number is still it's definitely there, and it's a number that I'm striving to achieve. But I really do want to enjoy the journey and connecting with people like you who are in Hawaii who are doing the same thing that I'm doing, and it's just cool to connect. So I'm really learning to really enjoy that journey. And when I hit that number, I hit that number, but I'm still going to continue to do what I'm doing. It's not like I'm going to hit that number and sit on a beach and retire, which is what I initially thought I was going to do and just be lazy. But then I realized that real estate investing is just in my blood. And, I just really enjoy reading and listening to podcasts. So it's not necessarily just about that financial freedom, which I'm striving for, but it's just about fulfillment and really waking up every day and saying, all right, cool. What am I going to do today? I'm going to hop on a podcast with Mike in Hawaii and talk about real estate. Like, this is an awesome day. So that's kind of where my mindset was, and where my drive was really.
All right. Yeah. Fantastic. And you know what? I felt the same way. Like I got up this morning, I said, hey, I'm getting on an episode today with Greg, a fellow Long Islander who's also into real estate. So I was pretty pumped this morning. So, and it's actually still morning for me. I know it's the afternoon for you, but it's still morning out here in Hawaii. So one of the things I want to say too is I appreciate the flexibility, especially for all my guests, because of the time difference, right? With me being in Hawaii and everybody else back in the States, at least the time difference isn't as bad for you being in Phoenix versus some of the guys I talk to on the East Coast. That gets kind of rough, right? But no, definitely appreciate that, and I think that's important. What you're talking about is just having that mentality or that mindset, right? That was something that shifted for you because at first you said you had a number goal, right? Whether that number was amount of doors or amount of passive income per month, that was your initial going in. And what's funny is I'm very similar because that's what I was looking at too. It's like, hey, I want to have this many doors by this time, or I want to be making this much a month by this time of passive income, and so for me, like the journey started because I wanted to supplement my retirement from the Navy, right? And I'm actually at the point right now that when I retire here in about 2 years, that I will be financially independent. So I can essentially call myself retired, right? But at the same time, I want to keep going. Yeah, I thought about that too. Like the whole, do I want to sit on the beach, drinking Mai Tais or whatever with my toes in the sand? That sounds great. I mean, maybe that's something I can do on the weekends if there's time, right? But for me, the batteries just keep getting recharged and I just keep going. Maybe eventually when I die, I'll stop. But this is when you enjoy what you're doing, can you really consider it work? That's one of the biggest things I talk about is, when you find something that provides you that joy, a career field that provides you joy, I mean, you could just do that forever and just enjoy it and love it, right? So obviously you seem pretty passionate about real estate yourself. So it's something that keeps you going. Now, do you have kids? You and your wife have kids?
No kids, and we're not planning on having any kids. So we want
All
a
right.
simple lifestyle, which has been good for us.
Just Buster. No, okay, cool. So you've got your plan set up and everything. So that's great. So and I'm not saying you don't have to worry about, setting up anything for kids, but at the same time, you guys planned your life this way and this is the way things are going, right? So I'm not doing like a 529 or anything like that for my kids because what I plan to do is, what I want to pass down to them is generational wealth. I want to pass my assets down to them, right? I did open up a joint account for them that's currently through Pershing Brokerage, and that's a little something for if they want a car or get married in the future. That's what that money's for. But at the same time, I plan to leave a legacy behind. A lot of people think that they have to do all these different things and open up all these different accounts, and you really don't. You just have to figure out what avenue, what way you want to go, right? Is there anything besides real estate that you invest in right now? There are other asset classes.
Honestly, not really. I have a small amount, very, very small amount in the stock market, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably not even 1% of my whole portfolio. So yeah, everything else is pretty much real estate or real estate related in one way or another.
Yeah, it's good. So same here again. So I have some I have the thrift savings plan with the Navy. It's kind of like a 401k. There's a Roth version and a standard version. So it's very similar to an IRA, right? So or a 401k, because sometimes you get employment matching, but I don't get that. Besides that, I have like some stuff that I play with individual stocks, but mostly it's real estate for me, because I feel like it is the one asset class that, is always going to be there. It's safe. It's relatively safe, right? Even if there's a correction, if you have multiple exit strategies, or you have properties that are renting and providing you passive income, even if it does dip in value, you're still in a pretty good place. So, and as long as you're putting a good percentage down, even if it dips in value, you're still not negative, right? I think that's a good route to go. Real estate. I mean, people are always going to need a place to live, right?
Yeah.
Where do you currently invest?
So we have, 4 single family homes at this point, 2 in Phoenix and then 2 in the greater Orlando area.
Okay.
And then we are invested in a couple of syndication deals as a limited partner. One of them in South Carolina, and then actually one internationally in Belize, which is a whole nother story and asset class. But yeah, that's a cool one as well. So a little diversified within real estate, and we're looking to add some more single family homes, and then do some syndication deals, limited partner and maybe general partner as well.
Okay, fantastic. So I want to touch on these a little bit. So why Orlando?
So Orlando, we actually we sold a property here in Phoenix about a year ago, and then we 1031 exchanged into 2 properties in Orlando. And the reason why Orlando, just the data basically just supported that there were so many people moving there, the jobs were there. It was just a great MSA to invest in, and we found a good turnkey provider there through podcasts and networking that we felt comfortable with. And I flew out there before COVID to meet the teams, check out the properties and everything, and it just checked all our boxes, and we just kind of felt comfortable, and it was no problem, and it's been smooth sailing even through COVID at this point.
Nice. Okay, so that was so pretty recently then, right?
Yeah, about it. I think we closed in probably December, January. So right 2 or 3 months before COVID hit.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So I closed on my duplex back in Virginia in February 5th. So literally like right before the world ended. So
Wow.
yeah. Well, I mean, for me, if it was Orlando, I'm going to be honest with you. It would have been because of Disney. It would be my excuse. Honey, I have to go check on the properties back in Orlando and go to Star Wars land. So
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
yeah.
I mean,
Big Star Wars fan, so I can't help it. So anyway, no, that's good stuff. So Orlando, you actually found 2 turnkey properties that you did a 1031 exchange into. So for our listeners that don't know what a 1031 tax deferred exchange is, can you explain that?
So yeah, so I sold 1 property here in Phoenix, and then I took that equity and used that money to defer paying taxes, and then split that up into 2 properties in Orlando. There are a lot of time frames and other dates that you have to be hyper aware of, because they do kind of constrict you a little bit. But yeah, basically it just defers taxes. It doesn't eliminate them, but it just kind of kicks that can down the road a little bit, and allowed me to turn 1 property into 2 properties, or you can do it the other way and sell 1 property and buy a bigger property for, $1 million or $2 million and kind of level up. So different ways to do it, different strategies, but that's basically the overview of the 1031 and how an investor would utilize it and kind of what the benefits are.
Let's take a quick break from today's episode to hear from our show sponsors. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Mike Cav from Average Joe Finances. Just want to talk to you today about Prep Agent. If you're interested in learning how to become a real estate agent and being able to pass the test on your first try, check out Prep Agent. Check out the link below in the show notes or in the video description. Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Mike Cav with Average Joe Finances. We're living in some pretty tough times right now, and if you don't have life insurance, you should probably get it. You need to protect yourself, protect your family, and protect what you own. Check out the link below in the show notes or in the video description.
You're listening to the Average Joe Finances Podcast. Whether it's single or multifamily real estate, the stock market, or side hustles, we discuss it all. Strap in and enjoy the ride.
The Average Joe Finances podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. Do not use this for any real estate or investment making decisions. All views by myself or our guests are solely our own and do not reflect the opinion of our employers. Welcome back, everybody. Let's get back into it. For those that are listening that have, a property that you're getting ready to sell and you want to upgrade or anything like that, definitely keep that in mind for a 1031 tax deferred exchange. So, okay, good stuff. So I want to talk about your syndications, right? Because I actually recently was looking into doing a syndication here soon as a limited partner. So we'll see how that goes. I've got a couple hiccups coming up right now, but we'll see. So you are doing you have syndications in South Carolina and Belize. So I want to talk about South Carolina first. You said you're a limited partner.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So how is it an apartment deal? Is it a commercial property? What or non-apartment? What kind of property is it?
So yeah, it's 115 units, I believe, and it's a multifamily. It's a value add property, and the thing I like about the limited partner is, I'm not dealing with the contractors or making the mortgage payments. I basically, on the limited partner side, you vet out who that general partner is. You really do have to vet them out and make sure they're legit. They have a good track record. They have a good reputation in the community, and then once you feel comfortable with that, it's just writing a check, which again is, sometimes it's hard to part with your money, but if it's going to a good project and it's going to bring back more money, that's the whole point of investing, right? So yeah, it's basically vetting out that general partner, making sure they're going to do what they say they're going to do, and you feel comfortable with it, most importantly. So yeah, we did that about 3 or 4 months ago, and project's going well. The management team is doing what they said they're going to do, clean it up, increase some rents, basically just take care of all the metrics. And yeah, so far so good. And I felt really good about the operator even before. And now that I'm seeing some, reports and updates coming through on my email, it's been all good news. And so yeah, smooth sailing for now, but like any investment, it's got some risks. So
Absolutely.
it might not be smooth sailing in 5 years, but right now I'm feeling pretty good about the investment and the choice we made.
No, it's great. And one of the good things about a syndication too is that it's a place that you can place your money besides it sitting in the bank and not making you any money, right? So now you've got it, you've employed those dollars to do some work for you, and it's hands free. It's as a limited partner, that's 100% passive for you. You just put your money into it, you sit back and just watch it unfold. So that's pretty awesome, man. So in South Carolina, 115 unit, that's fantastic. So what about this international syndication you got going on out there in Belize, which every time I look at Belize, my wife and I even talked about, retiring there and being expats and moving to Belize, because every time we look at anything Belize, it's always just beautiful. I mean, Hawaii, I love it. It's beautiful. But every time we look at Belize, it's just like, man, we picture that as like the tropical paradise, right?
Yeah. Well, we might be neighbors, because that's me and my wife's goal too, is to maybe retire to Belize one day. And so the whole story behind the Belize syndication was last summer, or I guess summer of 2019, I should say. Me and my wife, we went out to Belize through a trip with the real estate guys, Robert Helms and Russell Gray.
Yeah, they're doing another one there, I think, next year.
Yeah, I think they do like 2 or 3, or before COVID, I think they were doing like 3 or 4 a year. Now I'm not really sure with the travel situation.
I listen to their show, so I hear the commercial all the time. So that's good stuff.
Yeah.
So tell me more about that trip.
So yeah, that was our biggest trip that we ever went on, and it really kicked off. I'd like to say it knocked down a lot of dominoes moving forward for me.
Nice.
So just meeting Robert Helms and hanging out with him and his family for 3 or 4 days was just amazing. It was so much fun. He's got so much knowledge, local knowledge, because he's a developer down there. So we got through with the trip, and we actually turned it into a vacation. So we were there for like 5 days before the Belize, or before the real estate trip, and then we met up with Robert Helms and everybody afterwards. So yeah, like you were saying, it's beautiful, drinking Mai Tais and scuba diving and doing all that fun stuff.
Nice.
So then when we got back from Belize, through our networking that we did there, we heard of a syndication that was occurring there. And so yeah, we decided to invest with a couple of students of Robert Helms. And this one was a little different than the South Carolina one, because this one was more was kind of a balance of, it's an investment, but it's also a personal lifestyle investment as well. Kind of like you were saying, if you wanted to invest in Orlando and just say, hey, I got to go to Orlando for the weekend. Well, we kind of did that for Belize. We said, hey, if we have this syndication down there and it gives us 3 or 4 days a year where we can go down there and stay for free, that's a good excuse to go down there, check on our real estate, and have a good vacation kind of built in as well. So yeah, that was, it's a little bit different, more of a lifestyle investment, but it also returns some money, or will return some money, I should say. It's kind of being built right now. And then with COVID, that was another little hiccup, but yeah, it was a great investment, or at least we feel like it's a great investment, and looking forward to getting down there and checking it out and sitting on the beach too.
Yeah, that's living the dream right there. So can you explain what you mean by lifestyle investment?
Sure. So a strictly financial investment is, you put in 100 grand and what's my return? Am I going to get 10% on that money every year? A lifestyle investment is more of, we want to go somewhere. Like I said, we want to kind of retire on the beach, and we love going to the Caribbean and that beach lifestyle. So maybe this investment returns a percent or two less, but it gives us that vacation every year, and it gives us that opportunity to go down to Belize. And if we have the opportunity to go down there, great. If we don't, it's still kind of making us money, but it's just investing in more of our lifestyle and our peace of mind to have a place to kind of go every year, or every once in a while, and just kind of relax and unwind. And yeah, we're just big travel people, so it just kind of it checked all our boxes as well.
Yeah, I'm sure it did. That's, that's exactly what we were talking about before, just being able to have yourself in a spot where you're dipping your toes in the sand, drinking Mai Tais again. So for me, it might be, I don't know when the wheel's going to fall off, but if we did wind up down there, and then you and I are neighbors, we'll have to open up like a New York pizza place or something. We'll make a killing down there.
Let's do it. I'm down.
So one of the things that I liked about it is, so my wife and I, so we're plant-based, right? So we saw that there's a lot of like plant-based places to eat down there in Belize. Like it's got that very like that island vibe, kind of the same reason why we love living here in Hawaii. So, and then on top of that, like you're not too far away from society, like the mainland and everything, with Mexico being like right there. You could just hop right across and you're good to go. That was one of the things we liked about it. So that's good stuff. So a lifestyle investment, I like that. So you're not going to, not as big of a return, but you're getting that lifestyle that, you and your wife wanted. Right. And, the excuse of, hey, let's go down, honey, and go check on the syndication we were working on and make sure everything's going smooth. And yeah, it's a great excuse to get down to Belize and write that off as a business expense too for that flight, because that's what you're doing. So I want to talk a little bit about, so there were some topics that you had sent me for discussion as well. And I think we hit a lot on one of the major ones, which was real estate investing, right? I want to talk a little bit now about your personal development and mindset, right? Because you had mentioned that earlier was your mindset. So something had to change when you went from wanting to have that number as your target goal, and then you changed your mindset. And once you changed your mindset, you said that's like when everything changed for you. So can you tell me what you did to change your mindset?
Yeah, so that was actually one of the dominoes that got knocked down after that Belize trip. Once I came back, I felt like I had some good networking at that event. I met a great realtor down in Belize, and the two gentlemen that I invested in as well. Me and my wife, we actually became we became friends, and we hang out on Zoom calls now and everything. But that was one of the big drivers. I joined a mastermind for the first time ever, and I can't say enough about joining a mastermind or getting a mentor. So I ended up joining, I'm sure you're familiar with Jim Rohn, the personal development speaker. And yeah, so I actually joined a mastermind with his 18-year business partner. His name is Kyle Wilson. And I just kind of stumbled into this. I didn't really know what kind of gold I struck, but the mastermind, I was actually out just on a weekend call with this mastermind group, and it's just such a great combination of great minds, great thinkers, great networkers and connectors, not only in the real estate investing world, just in general. So joining that mastermind really kind of flipped a switch in my brain of, hey, I really need to get behind personal development and, mindset. And that was the one thing that was really holding me back because, the how-tos are there, right? There's coaches and gurus, and I mean, you can even Google how to make money in real estate. And if you're consistent and you do it, it's going to happen.
Right.
So for me, it was a lot of, maybe a little anxiety, a little bit of fear, a little bit of, maybe I can't do this, which I'm sure a lot of people have. And that was one thing that I really wanted to get over and move forward with. And this just opened up a lot of doors, this year, even with COVID. I feel like my personal development has taken off. I'm really into habits and created really great habits this year. You probably won't know it because you didn't know me about a year ago, but I'm down 30 pounds this year. So I really
Fantastic.
contribute that to the mastermind and the habits that I created around that.
No, that's great. I mean, yeah, changing that mindset, getting these new habits and just your daily lifestyle. I mean, that's going to change everything, every aspect of life. I mean, that's one of the things that for me, when I started meditating, right? I started meditating and doing daily affirmations. And that actually really started to change my life, not just with what I do with real estate investing or just investing in general, or even my blog, my website, and my podcast, but it helped change every aspect with how I am with my family, everything. Right. So
Mhm.
definitely important to have the right mindset as you're doing anything in life. Right. So speaking of habits, you're talking about mindset, but you had mentioned something about habits. So you recently co-authored a book, right? It was Success Habits of Super Achievers,
Mhm.
right? So can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so that actually came out of the mastermind. Kyle Wilson, who I mentioned earlier, he was the co-author and the publisher, and he basically put this thing together. And this was, I think, his ninth or 10th book. So, it wasn't his first rodeo. He knew what he was doing. But yeah, it was a really cool book. I think everybody aspires to write a book one day, but they really never take the steps to do it. And myself included, I started writing a book and then I realized, whoa, I'm kind of in over my head here. But when this opportunity came along, it was 80 plus authors writing, you write your one chapter and then it's basically a compilation of all the chapters combined. And there's some really great stories in that book. A lot of, people that came from, tough childhoods or just difficult backgrounds, and they turned it around into, a successful real estate investor, or a lot of them are coaches. So yeah, it's just a really great book. And it's an honor to be in the book with people like, Les Brown, and I mean, I have the book right here. Les Brown, Brian Tracy, Robert Helms is in the book. So it's just the company that I'm keeping is really cool. Just to say I'm in a book with some of these ladies and gentlemen, and it was just a great experience. Putting my story into words and kind of just hoping I can help somebody change their life with the habits that I've created and my story in general.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. And you know, we talk about, well, you were talking about the mastermind and everything, but there was something you just said just there, like, with the people that you surround yourself with. And this was something I've spoken about in the past too. I like to call it like your tribe, right? So when you surround yourself with like-minded people that have the same or similar goals and aspirations that you do, it just helps propel you on that upward trajectory with what you're trying to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't beat that when you have just all these people that are trying to do the same thing. Like when I went to that first real estate investors meetup and, got to meet some of these individuals there, and that's what put the whole thing in my head to go get my license and pursue this. It's you can't beat that. And now I'm a part of that group. I'm a part of another one. We're doing everything over Zoom right now, obviously. Hawaii actually just recently started opening up this past week. So we might have our first in-person event, hopefully here soon. Not sure. We
Nice.
we got to see how things go since things opened up. But obviously, if we do, it'll we'll be very safe about it with the social distancing and all that. But I'd love to get back together in person with some of these folks and just share like what I've been doing since the last time we met in person. I mean, we all talk over Zoom once a month and and sharing what we're doing, but it's a lot different when you're in person. I mean, I'm thankful for the technology and stuff that we have today, that we were able to keep everything going and the momentum didn't stop. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But man, there's nothing like being in person with other like-minded people and just sharing that knowledge. And and I'm not saying like brag about what you're doing, but when you share what you're doing and you speak it out, it really impacts you so much more versus, just keeping it to yourself. And when you get to hear other people share what they're doing, it's like, oh, wow. Sometimes you might even have like a mini competition in your head and be like, oh man, he's doing this. I got to step my game up. I got to get caught up. You know what I'm saying? And it can help motivate you to push a little further. So that's one of the things I like about, like you said, like being part of masterminds and things like that. So I'm a part of 2 of them right now. I think you're a part of 5. So I got to step my game up and get in a couple more. So that's good stuff, man.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I can't wait for the in-person networking to kind of come back. Like you're saying, Zoom networking, it's good, but I think it takes a little bit more, development of that relationship. Whereas in person, you can have a beer with somebody and really kind of dive down into their past a lot more easier. But yeah, we'll see how things kind of come out with COVID and everything.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny though, because I listen to the real estate guys too. So I was actually looking at if things calm down going to the 2021 meet in Belize. I was actually talking with my wife a little bit about that. She's still not 100% on board, but we'll see. We got to figure out if we could get somebody to watch the kids, but we got some good timing going on right now because my in-laws might be in town around then. So we'll we'll see. But no, that's good stuff, man. I definitely I want to get in front of a group like that and just meet some of those big names, and just to have that conversation in person is just it's a different level. So for sure. Hey man, so really appreciate everything. This is good stuff. I definitely want to check out your book. So I'd like to know where I can get a copy of that, for one. The other thing is, where can people find more information about you? And, do you have a website or social media that people can follow?
Sure. So the book is actually really easy to find on Amazon. It was #1 in over 30 categories. So
Fantastic.
Like I said, Kyle knows what he's doing when it comes to marketing. So yeah, check it out. It's Success Habits of Super Achievers. And then for myself, the easiest way to get hold of me is just through email. And it's my first name, Greg, Greg, at 7figurecapital.com.
So there we go. That's where people could talk to you. And so if anybody has questions for Greg, definitely reach out to him, shoot him an email, and I'm sure he'd be happy to assist you. Greg, fantastic having you on. You have any final thoughts, anything you want to share?
No, honestly, I just want to say thanks for having me on here, Mike. I really do appreciate it. And thank you for your service as well. I know you're in the Navy and you got 2 years left. So keep on going, man. And I love your mindset. I love where everything, where you're going and what you've done. And I'm looking forward to connecting with you offline as well and continuing this relationship.
Yeah, for sure. And if I'm ever in Phoenix, man, we got to go grab you got to show me where the best New York slice of pizza is out there.
You got it, man. Anytime.
All right, man. Fantastic. Hey, thanks again for coming on, and we'll see you later.
Thanks for listening to the Average Joe Finances Podcast, your source for beating debt, saving money, and investing. Learn more at averagejoefinances.com.